What's going on, everybody? Mike McIntyre here, back with a brand new video of the new Adidas Predator Edge.1 in the low version in the Edge of Darkness pack colorway. Let's get into it. Alright guys, Mike McIntyre, All Things Sports. Thanks for stopping by as always. Be sure to hit that like button, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification because you don't want to miss out on any videos. That's your job before we get into it. And let's get into this brand new review. Another boot from Adidas. This is the Edge of Darkness pack colorway in the form of the Predator .1 low. I've done a review on all of the other Predator Edge releases. This is the first time I get the low version. I was very curious about this one because we have 3 different top tier boots from Adidas from the Predator Edge line. So I wanted to review this one. The Edge of Darkness pack is not something you're going to see on all the pro athletes just because, well, it's not bright enough for them to market. So it's a .1 model, so all you get are the boots themselves. Let's get these out of the box. Now, like I said, I've done a review on all the other Predator Edges. I guess it makes sense. But if you are interested in checking those, be sure to hit that link in the top right-hand corner to check out all the other videos. I've done a comparison, I've done a review. Check out the Predator Edge. And this is the low version. I was very curious about this boot just to see if there would be any kind of differences in the upper, any kind of differences with the collar area. So it is another top tier offering from Adidas. So you can go with the low, you can go with the standard .1, or you can go with the Predator Edge Plus. The thing with the Predator Edge is we've seen a redesign as far as the upper goes. The base is still supposed to be a prime knit material, but we've completely covered the upper in lethal zones, or they're calling them the zone skin elements now. So we essentially have these very aggressive rubber elements outlining the entire upper, all the way from this medial side here along the drive area where you would tend to strike a ball. They're very aggressive there in the top of the toe box area, as well as on the outside where you tend to push the ball to dribble. Very, very aggressive elements, and because there are so many of them, they tend to make the boot a little bit stiffer as far as the upper goes. I said it in the comparison video that there was a big difference between the Edge Plus and the Edge .1. The Edge Plus has to factor in that lockdown ability without laces, so the upper's even stiffer than the .1. On this one, I suspect the upper will be very similar to the .1 version because we do have laces here, so the upper might not necessarily have to be quite as stiff from right out of the box. I think there is a potential for this to soften up over time. I said that with the .1 because there are laces, you can dial in the fit, you can lock the boot in on your foot, and that upper has a little bit more potential to soften up over time. But just know that from right out of the box, based on today's boots and today's market, these do feel quite stiff from right out of the box. The big thing that I said with the .1 was I think they absolutely nailed the collar, and I think that Predator Edge .1 has potentially the best collar that we've ever seen. It fits extremely naturally, it doesn't get in the way, it just fits really, really well, and we don't have any ridiculous high piece up the back of the heel like we saw on last year's Predator Freak. So they absolutely nailed the collar. This one is just giving you another option. Now the collar isn't ridiculously high on the .1, so on the .1 low, there's not that much of a difference. You have this big cutout here for the outside of your ankle bone, and it just fits a little bit more like a traditional football boot, even though we still don't have a tongue and it's this one-piece upper design. So I'm very curious to see how that fits on feet, and if you notice any kind of difference between this one and the .1. As far as the sole plate goes, it's the exact same thing. We have the facet frame that they're calling it now. I would have preferred an external heel counter, but they're doing internal ones on the Predator Edge. You have these kind of, triangular shaped studs, which I'm okay with. But again, I said in my other video, the orientation of them just makes that longer edge a little bit more aggressive. This little piece at the front is kind of a bit of a gimmick. I don't know why it's there. If it's supposed to add weight, it really doesn't do anything. And it just adds a little bit of unnecessary bulk to the sole plate that I don't think you need. So that little piece, Adidas, get rid of that. You don't need it. But other than that, it's been a very, very solid Predator release. And I like the fact that we can see the return of the Predator LZ elements back on this Predator Edge. Given that I wore the originals, I really was a fan of that LZ, and it was a very, very big turning point in the Predator line, and I think it was probably arguably one of the best Predators ever. In fact, the LZ2 is potentially my favorite Predator ever, especially of the newer generations and not those kind of classic fold-over tongue ones. So that's it for the review of the Edge of Darkness .1 low. Let's get onto the turf and talk about fit and feel. Slipping the Predator Edge .1 low on feet for the first time, Again, you do notice that stiffness from right out of the box. I'm not gonna hide it. The Predator Edge upper is very, very firm. It has a very natural shape to it, and the boot holds its shape really well. There's a little bit more width to it compared to previous Predators, which is a very good thing for my foot, but you just feel that stiffness from right out of the box, and it doesn't feel as comfortable as it could be because of that stiffness. I do suspect that because this one has laces, over time the upper will soften up. Those elements will kind of break in, if you will, and the upper will break in, and I think it'll fit that much better over time. I'm not as convinced on the Plus model just because the upper has to be the source of the responsiveness, whereas on this model, the laces are giving you the lockdown and the responsiveness that you need. In terms of the collar, honestly, I don't notice that much of a difference. I don't feel that this one restricts you in any way, but I didn't feel like the Predator Edge.1 with the collar restricted you in any way. It does give you a little bit more freedom, if you will, or that sensation of having a little bit more freedom around the ankle area. But other than that, it's really not that big of a deal. And to be honest, this could be the first time where I say, if you want the collar on the Predator Edge, just get the collar, because it's probably just as good as the low version, and I've never said that before. In other videos and in other boot reviews, I would have always said go for the low version. I thought the collar was a waste of time, but on the Predator Edge.1, they definitely nailed the collar, and like I said, I think it's potentially the best collar they've ever done. So I don't notice that much of a difference between the low and the .1. In terms of fit and feel, go true to size. There's no doubt about that. And wide feet, you can definitely get into them. Just know that they do feel a little bit more firm around your foot because of that upper material. That's pretty much it for the on feet. Let's head over to the desk and wrap the video up. So there you have it, guys. There's my review of the Predator Edge.1 in this Edge of Darkness pack collection. I think as far as a pack goes, it's a very good looking boot, but I think the Speedflow .1 definitely takes the cake in terms of the best looking of the Edge of Darkness pack. As far as the low Predator goes, I don't notice that much of a difference. If you want that little bit of extra freedom around the ankle, go for the low, but the Predator Edge.1 collar is fantastic and it doesn't get in the way. It fits extremely naturally. So it could be one of the first times where I say go for the .1 or go for the .1 low. Whichever one you want, I don't think it'll matter, to be honest. Other than that, guys, I'm signing off for now. You know what to do. Bell button, subscribe button, like button. You know the drill. Mike McIntyre signing off. All things sports. Catch you guys in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.